Welcome to Blind Level Tech. I'm Jonathan Price.
I'm Evan Starnes.
And together, we're bringing you news, tech, and information about blind technologies.
Being blind doesn't mean you have to stop living.
We're going to show you just how possible it is to live the life you want. All right, well, that's fun messing around with the recording. Seth, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. I had a very nice and relaxed weekend, and my watch is currently vibrating and distracting me, and I wish it would stop. Thank you. There you go. Speaking of watches, not the most exciting thing I bought, but I am gonna have an Apple Watch Ultra on my wrist pretty soon, and
very nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
it's gonna be interesting. It'll be my first cellular Apple Watch because pretty much every Apple Watch I've had has always been just the regular GPS model because I'm like, nah, I'm not going to pay for this, but
right.
It wasn't that much. And hey, now if I lose my phone, I'm not completely screwed. So
no, I absolutely love my 7.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time justifying going to the Ultra just yet.
Yeah, I'm coming from a 6. But next exciting purchase was a See Me cane.
There you go.
I bought one, and one's coming, and we will get audio of it when it comes.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. And that's actually a great segue into this week's topic. We, on Friday, Jonathan and I went out and met with Kelvin, who is a guest on Blind Level Tech a few weeks back and is going to be a guest on Aftersight this week as well. We met with him, and we got to test out the See Me cane live, go do some scary street crossings. They weren't that bad, but they were kind of scary too. And just test it out and really field test it at night, which was super cool. So the sun was down, and it was completely dark out. So we got to see what this cane was made of, and it blew us both out of the water.
Yeah, it was pretty epic. When we went to Greeley, we got to meet not only Kelvin, but his friend Spencer, his mom Pamela, and Scott, and I think his sister named Vivian. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Sister.
Beautiful family, just wonderful hosts. They were so gracious, and it was so wonderful to meet people who were genuinely interested in not only the cane, but the stories of those who are blind. Spencer himself is blind. We're going to try to get him on after sight in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. His story is just, if you want to hear an amazing story of overcoming odds, that's one that you're going to want to tune into. And when we got there, it was pretty unreal because there was this big, it almost reminded me of a golf bag, and it had a whole bunch of See Me canes in it of all sizes and lengths, and all on this really cool charging station. And then it was off to the races, and we sat and chatted for a little while, got to know each other, went out to dinner, and yeah, just like Evan said, the crossing that we were at, it was a lot bigger than Evan made it out to be, and it was more scary. I'm glad that he was blind because there were a lot of cars zooming around.
It was bad. It wasn't as bad as Colfax, but
no, it wasn't. At least, yeah, I'm not even going to go there. Nope, I just can't.
No.
Just can't.
Fair
You're
enough.
up in Colorado long enough, you hear the word Colfax, and then
chills start running down your spine, I think.
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
Anywho, but it was such an amazing experience, and we were blown away. For me is an understatement, because we went in, we talked on the way up, and we went in and we're like, boy, I hope this thing is actually worth coming up here for. We're just going to test it out, do a couple of walks, and head home.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn it over to you. Tell me about the impressions of the cane. What your first thoughts were.
Well, my first thoughts were, this is going to be some thrown together thing. I'll check it out, have some fun. It might light up a little bit, but I probably won't be able to see it. I have light perception, but can't see super. I have a hard time with LEDs, and
right.
It's just like this is going to be super expensive, and it's going to,
It's not worth the money.
it's just going to be like every other cane.
Right.
So, obviously, yeah, those impressions were completely blown out of the water, big time. In fact, holding it in my hand for the first time, that's pretty much when that all happened. The cane itself, when I got it, it was really, really well built. I mean, it's light for a battery-powered cane, so it's about as heavy actually as like your average folding cane from like Ambitech, mainly. So not super heavy. The vibration on it, I wish we had gotten audio. I really regret not getting audio that night. The vibration on it was really good. It was kind of high pitched and kind of hard to not fidget with because it was fun.
Yeah.
But super good. I'm super glad that's a feature there. The light itself, though, is really what impressed me. The cane itself, below the handle, like the entire shaft of it, like literally the entire shaft all the way pretty much down to the tip lights up.
Yep.
Brightly. Like, we're not just talking your LED indicator, your phone screen. This is like flashlight bright. But what was cool is he was showing me this film that he put on. I think he talked about, and it actually helps like shade the light, and that's actually a common thing. I mean, a lot of
it mutes the light. It takes the brightness or the harshness of the light, and it just kind of softens it, so it still maintains its brightness, but the sharpness of that light. I mean, you could probably see this light for at least a mile.
Yeah, that actually totally like trounces all over the comment I had of it lighting up an entire hallway in a restaurant, because it did do that.
Oh, absolutely! In
like
a lighted hallway, by the way.
Yeah, it lit a lighted hallway. So yeah, basically that all aside to say, it's an impressive cane.
So you had the handle, and you were a little concerned about the pistol grip and how you didn't know if it was going to be well designed or if it was going to fit right. But the handle.
I like the handle. The handle is probably one of my favorite parts about the cane. So, yeah, when Kelvin talked about the pistol grip, I kind of assumed he was talking about like this big thing, like about the size of like a pack of gum or something, like this, big flat thing. That's what I was expecting to hear. But the handle itself is super nice. It's at the very top is your charging connector, basically, and it's a little magnetic thing. And we'll talk about the charger, but at the very top, it's just like a little flat spot. It's like about the size of a 9-volt battery. In fact, I think that's what it is. And then right below that, you get your just standard cane grip. It's really nice. It's flat on one side and then curved, and I think it was actually flat on like both sides for ergonomics. So it's a very ergonomic grip. And then on the flat part of that handle, we were the two buttons, and they're both very easy to feel, very very distinctive. The light button actually looked straight up like a flashlight button. In fact, it even functions like a flashlight button.
Yeah, that was cool. And
you can make it flash. You don't. It's really easy. You just very slightly push the button, just like he talked about in the episode, and it will flash. And
yeah, it was really interesting for me to see these three. I'm sorry, 3 blind guys walking across.
Call
the street.
Us the mice,
right? 3 blind mice.
I don't mind personally. I like being called them 3 blind mice.
That was the funny part, was that Pamela said that in the video, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. That just it just was funny. But her son was blind, so I guess it was okay. And Spencer, and I'm going to get back to my thing, but real quick, Spencer's ability to tell blind jokes was just spot on. So
yeah, he's got a wide variety.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I can't wait. But anyway. The interestingly enough for me was the power of the light and watching cars stop, and not only stop to like make sure see if we were crossing, but to see what in the world we were doing. Because when I went back and looked at the footage, it looks like you're playing with lightsabers on the ground. And so even if somebody doesn't know that it's a blind cane, it's still drawing attention to somebody that has a very large light, and everybody's going to stop and see what in the world is the light, bug to a flame, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that was the coolest thing for me, was to see all these cars just stopping and looking like, what in the
What's going on
world
here?
is
This is
going
new.
on? I have no, what is that? And so, yeah, we totally just went across the street. We crossed all four corners of the intersection, and it was very interesting to see how it worked.
Besides attracting attention, the cane itself, using it, felt like using any other cane. If you're used to heavier canes, it's definitely going to be like super easy. However, if you're used to your lighter straight canes, your NFBs, or any of those that don't fold, then it's going to take a bit of getting used to. Of course, it doesn't fold itself. It is a straight cane.
Right.
The tip it came with, which is the rolling marshmallow tip, was also very good. I mean, it was very smooth, what you'd expect from a rolling marshmallow tip. And the cool part is it uses the Ambutech screw-in tips, and you can find those on Ambutech's website, and they're really easy to install and great quality.
Yeah. Okay, now talk about the charger, because that was one of the coolest parts.
Yeah, so the charger is very, very unique. It kind of is like an Apple Watch charger. Well, I thought it was going to be more like an Apple Watch charger, in the fact that it's magnetic.
Right.
But the cable, basically, the end of it is kind of like a little barrel-shaped connector that magnetizes to the top of the cane, to this little round connector on the top.
Very similar to MagSafe.
Yeah, exactly. It pretty much is MagSafe. And then the other end is just a standard USB cable or a USB connector that plugs into whatever power brick you have lying around your computer. But the entire cable lights up, which, I mean, if you have light perception or can see light, it's cool, because when your cane's charging, it literally, like, the way I see it is, it's like, it looks like energy's flowing into the cane.
Right.
It's like,
well, it's like the largest indicator light ever.
It is. Because that is still kind of the one, like, little gripe I do have, is you can't really tell if you can't tell if the cane is charging. But if you have light perception, you can tell if it's charging. You'll totally be able to see the cable light up.
Didn't it vibrate when you plugged it in?
It does not. But of course, if you want to know if it's charged, just fire it up, push the button.
So I did have a layman's question, a sightling question, if you will. Kelvin was talking about overwalking your cane. Can you talk a little bit about that, since we're talking about cane and cane travel in general?
Yes. So when it comes to overwalking your cane, there's also the term walking in step with your cane. So when it comes to, well, this is actually a big rabbit hole here, but to keep it quick, simple, when it comes to cane usage, the way it's supposed to be is when you put your left foot forward, your cane swings right, and vice versa. When you put your right foot forward, your cane moves left. And then by the time your foot reaches the ground, the cane should be on your left side. If that makes
like
sense.
a contrary motion thing.
Yes. So what he's talking about is pushing the cane a little bit too forward and then kind of walking out of step. And then if you do that, you'll miss something like a crack or maybe a little bump or an obstacle.
And so Kelvin had a amazing event on Sunday night, and they were able to raise a couple $1,000s in order to get this cane produced. And we want to help him out. So if you guys know anybody who is willing to donate to get these canes produced, he is looking to get about $200,000 to put these canes in what I guess would call mass production, and at least to a point where he can get these sold. And you guys have got to go check out this cane, seemecane.com and blindpotter.com. Also, he has a lot of amazing pottery that we got to experience, and he gave
He gave me a cup.
Pamela gave him one of his cups, and that was super cool.
And I can vouch for his pottery. It looked machine made. It was so precisely made. It was actually, because I have some like handmade pieces, coffee. Well, I have a couple handmade coffee cups, and you can tell they're handmade, but this looked straight out of a factory. So just amazing quality, and it had 4 rings on it, and I don't remember what they exactly stand for.
So there were 3 rings. One of them was, oh shoot, now I forget. I know hope was the second one, perseverance and struggle, I think. Something to that effect. But don't listen to us. Go to the site. Go to
BlindPod and go check it out, because it's brilliant. It's seriously brilliant.
It's incredible. And so if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, Wednesday, August 9th, Kelvin will be on August 10th with Aftersight. And you get to listen to his actual story of him growing up, his vision loss, how he got into the CME cane, and just his personal backstory, which in and of itself is absolutely incredible. So please go check that out. And if you want to hear the full-on episode with Kelvin with us, I will link that in the description below. So just click on that link and it'll take you right to that show. So anything from you to follow up, Evan?
Yeah, so Kelvin knows a lot about canes. And that was actually another cool thing, is he was the first person that we could just talk different canes. He's tested canes that I've used, like the no jab cane, which has a spring in the handle, and just different brands of canes. Like he knows them well, which shouldn't surprise me, but it's the first time I've actually gotten to do that. And that was
when
cool.
you're in cane development and you're trying to test all these canes, you better know a lot about canes. Otherwise, you're not going to know what is needed out there. So
exactly,
I really appreciated that.
But that was cool. That was my first glimpse into the realm of canes, and I didn't even know that was it's almost an industry.
You would think, I wonder where I could get a cane. Speaking of canes, I do want to plug this really quick. We have the White Cane Project, and this is something that is near and dear to our heart. So if you know somebody who is blind or going through vision loss and they need a cane from child size all the way up to adult to 7, if you're 10 foot tall, it doesn't matter. We can find you a cane. We have canes, and all you have to do is be Colorado resident, have a visual, have low vision,
be visually impaired or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Blind, doesn't matter. We will send you a cane for FREE free. No hidden things, no kickbacks, no nothing, no subscribe, no. We want to help you guys. And so we are here to help you live your life.
And we got you.
Yeah. So with that being said, we're going to cut this episode short because we have an amazing episode coming next week. And we just wanted to get this out because it's such a... You have to go get it.
You guys needed an update, basically.
Yeah, you needed an update. It was just too cool to not post a little episode about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please don't forget to plug in your devices, and we will talk to you next week.